What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. Today's story is supposed to be a more grounded one. It's been a while since I did one of these more character focused ones, so I want to go back to this. And the concept itself isn't too crazy either. Today's scenario is going to revolve around Gohan and Vegeta. In this story, Vegeta ends up training Gohan after the Cell Saga. But what causes that and how is it going to affect everybody? Let's begin covering the scenario, what if Vegeta trained Gohan? A few months after the Cell Saga is where we begin. Now, at the end of the Cell Saga, Vegeta swore off fighting, kinda, but after all this time essentially just brooding, something changes with him here. He thinks to himself that it's not like him to be like this. He shouldn't just give up because he was surpassed. Think of it like this too. Kakarot knew something he didn't. Kakarot went about training a completely different way. And as for Gohan, he's gifted. They surpass him not because Vegeta's bad at what he does, but because they're good at what they do. It's not a shortcoming for Vegeta. And the best part of this is, it's not something within him that can't be changed. He could change it, but to do so, he'd need Kakarot around, and clearly, he's not there at the moment. As much as he hates to admit it, there's something about Kakarot and the way he trains that makes him better. And he's just gonna need to accept that fact, as hard as it is for him to do so. If he's gonna go beyond Super Saiyan, he's gonna have to get someone's help for it, and it's not someone that he wants to get help from, especially because it's Gohan, it's a kid. The thought of him having to be trained by a kid, he doesn't like that. But that's not how he's gonna view it here. He's gonna simply spar with Gohan a bit, try and figure out his tricks, what he used to become Super Saiyan 2. Gohan will be a means to an end for him. Really, deep down, Vegeta's gonna rely on Gohan as a way to actually ascend Super Saiyan. But on the surface, he's gonna act like it's completely different, thinking to himself that Gohan will simply be a way to push himself further. Yeah, that's it. He'll train with Gohan just for a bit until he ascends Super Saiyan. Gohan's essentially gonna be a stepping stone for him, a means to make him grow. What other choice does he have at this point? He doesn't even have anyone else to train with, too. Gohan is still the strongest person on Earth after all, so even if Gohan can't teach him the secrets of Super Saiyan or whatever, that doesn't matter. Gohan's the strongest training partner that he could have. And he knows Gohan has the most potential out of all of them. His only other option as a training partner right now is Piccolo, and Piccolo is a good warrior, but what's he gonna know about Super Saiyan 2? He'll just be another training partner. Gohan at least has something in there to help him. Out of the blue one day, he shows up at Gohan's home. Chi-Chi and Gohan come to the door, and Vegeta says he needs to talk to Gohan. Especially because he knows if he says this in front of Chi-Chi, it's not gonna go well. He tells Gohan to come along with him. They're gonna train. Gohan's gonna help him ascend Super Saiyan. And Gohan doesn't really say anything else here. Vegeta kinda scares him, especially showing up out of the blue and doing this. Something's off about everything. But when he leaves with Vegeta, he realizes that Chi-Chi's gonna be even more angry at him. He doesn't really have a choice here. Face Vegeta's wrath or face Chi-Chi's wrath. And he chooses Vegeta. He'll be easier to beat. They arrive at Capsule Corp and Gohan asks what this is all about. Why all of a sudden? Well, Vegeta's been thinking to himself. He just wants to go beyond Super Saiyan, and the best way to do that is to have a strong training partner, someone who could push him beyond his limits. He's not going to grow just training on his own. Thinking back to the time chamber, training with Trunks was a really good way to help him grow. It helped him ascend Super Saiyan the first time. Not just because it's two minds working together, but also the extra muscle helps. You can grow far more effectively with a strong training partner than just alone. As much as Vegeta hates to admit this to himself, Gohan is the best option for him to grow. And he asks Gohan, how much has he trained since fighting Cell? Well, he hasn't really trained at all. What? He has that insane gift of his potential, and he's not even using it, especially after just unlocking a new form of Super Saiyan that no one else has accessed before, and defeating a guy that was able to destroy solar systems. With that kind of power, he's not doing anything with it? Why? What a waste. He wonders if Trunks will have that same gift one day. But then again, he's stuck with Gohan for a bit because Trunks is still just a baby. He'll train Trunks up to be a strong warrior regardless, but he hopes Trunks has the same gift as Gohan and doesn't waste it. But still, he's amazed. He gets Gohan's not really a full Saiyan. That human side is probably what's influencing this, the fact that he's not just a battle-crazed Saiyan like them. And to think, he's the son of Kakarot. Kakarot loves fighting, and Gohan here, he's not training at all. Well, whatever. That's not Vegeta's problem. He just needs Gohan to help him get above Super Saiyan. The two start with gravity training, and even spar in the gravity chamber. He wants to see Gohan's full power once more. Gohan actually hasn't used his full power since fighting Cell, but of course here, he shows it off. And once more, Vegeta gets a glimpse of Gohan's power, that same strength that was used to defeat Perfect Cell. He forgot how intense the power was. Thankfully, it's only been a few months, so Gohan hasn't grown much weaker, if at all. But he also hasn't grown since then. Not that it matters though, because he's still above where Vegeta is, by a significant margin too. Alright, now that he's seeing this firsthand, he tells Gohan to come at him with everything he's got. Don't hold anything back, not until he wins. Of course, when the two of them start fighting like this, Gohan wins pretty easily. He's still not as skilled as Vegeta, but his raw power more than makes up for that. And this just annoys Vegeta even more. Seeing this power go to waste like that, he's not doing anything with it. Why? And Gohan still doesn't get what this is all about. Like, yeah, he knows Vegeta wants to get Super Saiyan 2, but how is this gonna help? He's just getting beat up by Gohan. Did he call Gohan here to just try and beat him up, or vice versa? What a weirdo. He always knew Vegeta was like that though, but still. He feels like this is a waste of time. And Vegeta's starting to see firsthand. Gohan's true potential. He's already known of it, of course, seeing it when he first came to Earth, and seeing it on Namek. He knows that hybrid Saiyans are just like this. But now, he sees what Goku is working with in the time chamber, and how he got this strong in the first place. Kakarot did a good job training Gohan up, and Piccolo for that matter too. But he tells Gohan he still has a long way to go, especially if he's not making use of the power and just focusing on other things. How about they make a deal, the two of them? Vegeta says he will train Gohan. He knows Gohan probably doesn't want to, but tells him to listen closely. He's not simply going to just train Gohan, no. He's going to make Gohan enjoy training, make him use that power. He gets Gohan doesn't like training like him or Kakarot, or fighting to the same extent either. But he knows it's got to be in there, somewhere in his Saiyan blood. He did show some sort of enjoyment against Cell when he was drunk off that power, and that's exactly it. This is what he's going to use to appeal to Gohan. First of all, doesn't he feel bad that the power's going to waste? The thing Goku and Piccolo worked so hard for him to unlock? Plus, on top of that, doesn't he want to make up for what he lost against Cell? Is he just simply scared of the power going to his head again? Vegeta can help him work around that, because Vegeta clearly has experience with power going to his head. And Gohan doesn't really know what to think of this. Of course, he does regret how he acted against Cell, but that's all the more reason for him to not use that power again. And Vegeta reminds him, Gohan's the strongest person on Earth right now. This is what his father would have wanted after all. Gohan's honestly not too sure about this because he knows Vegeta doesn't know Goku like that. Although, he is right. Goku probably would like to see Gohan do this. Look at it like this. There's no downside for Gohan. Vegeta will help refine his power. Vegeta will help him control that power. And Vegeta will make him like fighting just like them. Not that Gohan necessarily wants to, but sure. What Vegeta gets out of this is two things. Obviously, it's going to help him go Super Saiyan 2. Gohan will be a very worthwhile training partner. But on top of that, he'll also get to see how far Saiyan power can truly go with Gohan. It's morbid curiosity that's driving him too. If Gohan at this age has power like that, what's it going to be like when he's Kakarot's age, or Vegeta's age? How far can a hybrid Saiyan truly go? Gohan reluctantly agrees to this. He still does have to study like Chi-Chi wanted him to, but he still has free time. He's kind of apprehensive about this, but whatever, he'll go for it. Slowly the two begin training more and more together, as well as sparring too, of course. At the moment, Trunks is far too young to train, but Vegeta also does want to train him eventually. And from this, he'll actually get some experience with that. In a sense, this is kind of going to make him Gohan's teacher, so at least this way, he'll learn how to train someone else up and he could use that on Trunks once he's old enough. At first, the training is pretty spotty, but slowly they start training more and more, and it becomes a regular thing. At first, Kakarot's son is just a means to an end for him, a guinea pig of sorts as well, just to test out what his power's like, and to see what Vegeta could do as a teacher. But slowly though, that begins changing. Now, Vegeta's completely inexperienced as a teacher, but he is a wealth of knowledge, and eventually he's going to learn how to actually use that as a teacher. He doesn't consider himself as such, nor does he consider Gohan a student of his. But over time, these two people that never even really talked before, now they're developing a different type of bond, pretty similar to what happened between Gohan and Piccolo. And just like Gohan was able to change Piccolo's outlook, he's able to change Vegeta's. Of course, he's not causing a villain to turn good. Vegeta's already on their side. But rather, it's Vegeta's outlook on fighting. He was so demotivated before. And while he didn't even realize it at the time, this is also a way for him to be more motivated with training. Despite being surpassed by the other two, now he's getting back into it. He's getting back to his old self, but more refined. Unbeknownst to him, this training's benefiting him in more ways than he thought. The two of them grow stronger together. Vegeta gets Super Saiyan 2 for himself a lot earlier on. And as for Gohan, he doesn't really get to ascend Super Saiyan 2. He kinda sees what lies beyond it, but he has nothing as a useful form beyond it. He sticks with Super Saiyan 2 as his main thing, and he wonders what his next step is going to be. But at least with this, he further refines the power. He gets past that cockiness he felt before, that feeling of being drunk off the power that he got. He does grow considerably stronger physically, but mentally too. But keep in mind, this isn't intense training. It's training that happens pretty regularly. And the two do grow stronger from it, but it's not like they're training for a life or death situation. It's basically fueled by both of their curiosity. Towards the end of the time skip, Gohan eventually does go to school. Although, he's still able to fit in his training. He trains a little less with Vegeta, but still, it's a regular thing. A lot of the stuff with him being in school and meeting Videl ends up pretty normally. And not a lot changes after this too. The tournament does come up, and Goku's invited to go too. Vegeta sees this as a really good chance. Kakarot's coming back. Not only will Vegeta get to fight Kakarot and beat him, but he'll show him how he's trained Gohan. In a sense, he's already beat Kakarot. As a teacher, though. But still, he doesn't want to beat him physically in a fight. Goku, of course, is curious to see all this too. Because not only is Gohan stronger, but Vegeta was his teacher of all things. Now, Vegeta says he isn't a teacher, but that's exactly what he is. And Piccolo's a bit curious too. Not just for what Gohan's capable of, but for what Vegeta learned from this too, because he was never really the teacher type before. Granted, the same went for Piccolo in the Saiyan saga, and look what happened to him. Either way though, Vegeta feels pretty confident in himself. Not only did he grow stronger, but he trained someone else to grow stronger too. In a sense, the strength that Gohan has, that's his strength too. Without him, where would Gohan have been at this point? The tournament starts relatively normal, and really the biggest change here is that Gohan and Vegeta are both stronger than before. This goes for Trunks too, although that's not affecting anything with the main tournament. So nothing changes up until when Gohan's up against Kibito. Although, when Spopovich is fighting Videl, they kinda get to see a glimpse of Gohan's power when he's angry, which is pretty terrifying. But against Kibito, they see the full might of it. Very briefly, Gohan shows off his power. A power beyond Super Saiyan 2. He barely has control over this, and it's a very draining form, so he doesn't like using it, but he does have it as a final trump card just in case. His hair grows longer, his aura flares up significantly, and his ki, it skyrockets. Goku watches on from the sidelines amazed, with Vegeta glad to see the look on his face. But it's not a look of surprise in the sense that he's never seen this before. It's a look of surprise in the sense that he sees Gohan's gotten the same thing that he did. Standing there in the middle of the ring is Gohan now using Super Saiyan 3. And Goku turns to Vegeta. It's true. He's actually unlocked the same exact power in Otherworld, but to think that Gohan's unlocked it here. For Goku, that took him 7 years of training non-stop. He's known Gohan's always had that great potential in him, but this is still amazing. The Kais are barely able to paralyze Gohan. But they still do, and Spopovich and Yamu steal his power, so all of that goes normally. The thing is, though, with Gohan being in Super Saiyan 3, they get a lot more power. Now, the group does chase them down. And once they arrive in front of Bobby's ship, Dabura tries to sneak attack the group, but Gohan's quick enough to actually stop him in his tracks. Instantly turning Super Saiyan 2, and with a single attack, he defeats Dabura. And once more, Goku gets to see the extent of his power. To think that this is the same Gohan that fought Cell, not only is he far stronger physically, but the control he has over his power. The old Gohan with that type of power probably would have gotten drunk off of it and would have fumbled here. Granted, he was just a kid then, but still. Here, he's perfectly level-headed. He's always known that Gohan's been smart, but that's book smart. Now he seems smart as a fighter too. And it makes Goku happy. Gohan's been making good use of his time here. He tells the others unfortunately he is going to have to hold back Super Saiyan 3. It's a little bit too draining for him. Now, on the flight over, him and Goku were discussing it. So he knows that Goku has the same form, and he wonders why that is. He knows the form uses a lot of power, and maybe it has to do with him being dead. But for some reason, Gohan can't properly use the power, and that's why he barely touches it. For Goku, it's a different case. He doesn't want to drain his time here on Earth. But maybe there's a reason behind that. Maybe Super Saiyan 3 just doesn't work that well in the living world. Vegeta says when Gohan unlocked it during training, to both of them, it seemed worthless. Vegeta turns to Goku and chuckles a bit. He hasn't been slacking off either. For some reason, it seems pretty worthless for the both of them. It must be because Kakarot's dead. There's no other explanation. And for now, they're focused on a higher power. They're not sure if there is anything else besides Super Saiyan 3, but they're gonna look for it, just in case. They fight Babidi's minions. And obviously it's not tough at all, especially with Dabura being defeated that easily. And they feel pretty confident here. Shin says that they've stopped everyone. There's no way that Babidi has enough energy to revive Boo. He was probably gonna make them all fight. All they need to do now is get to the egg. However, there's one big problem. Everyone's then teleported outside of the ship, and they see Boo's egg. It starts shaking rapidly. Steam erupts out of it, with Babidi laughing in front of it. He tells them it's already too late. Honestly, he didn't even foresee this either. From Gohan going Super Saiyan 3, they got so much energy that the power from him was enough to revive Boo, and now they're about to face their worst nightmare. Majin Buu awakens, with the group unsure of what lies ahead. But Gohan's not deterred. Goku seems relatively calm. He thinks Gohan has this under control, and Vegeta thinks the same thing too. He tells Gohan to go ahead, show him that power that he obtained, the power that he worked for. This is where we'll leave off for now. What do you guys think about this part? What do you think is going to happen going forward? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel.
Oh, let's see. Let's find the playlist, right? What if Raditz took Gohan? What if Vegeta was always good?
Well, it's April Fool's again. That means we're doing another weird scenario. If you haven't seen the past 3 years, I've been doing pretty strange scenarios for April Fools. Scenarios that completely change the story in very weird ways. And for this year, you guys voted on this. As a result of hitting his head, Goku ended up losing his memories as a Saiyan, which helped lead him to becoming good like he is today. But what if we were to do the same thing to someone else? Like Vegeta. This is what you guys asked for, so this is what I'm gonna do. What if Vegeta hit his head and ended up turning good? It's a goofy idea and perfect for April Fools. I'll throw a like on the screen, and if we hit that, I'll continue this into a full series. Anyways, let's begin. In terms of when this happens, we're gonna say it happens while Vegeta as a kid. He still gets sent out on missions. I mean, we even saw this in the Broly movie. Even at a few years old, he was being sent out to different planets. And this is a perfect way for him to hit his head, actually. I mean, where else will you face constant blunt trauma to the head? This is probably the most effective way other than being Grandpa Gohan and dropping babies. But we'll say by this point, this is a long time after the Saiyans died. A few years, actually. Vegeta's already fairly strong by this point. And he, Nappa, and Raditz have been pretty successful in the Frieza Force. They're pretty well established, and everyone knows how Vegeta operates. Although he still hasn't reached his growth spurt yet. Even though he's a teenager, he still looks small, as Saiyans tend to look. He still is in his formative years. And this ends up working against him, of course. One day on a mission, they're facing some particularly strong opponents. Nothing unusual for the Saiyans, and they're able to claim victory here. But there's a survivor left. While their guard is down, a sneak attack is launched at Vegeta, with a powerful ki blast being sent right to his head. He can't dodge it in time, and it ends up hitting him. Raditz and Nappa of course finish off the survivor, but after being hit by this attack, Vegeta's launched a couple dozen feet away, and hits his head once more. We gotta make sure he really hits his head hard. The two other Saiyans come over to him. He looks okay, but he's unconscious. That was a pretty nasty hit that he took to the head. They're surprised it didn't just go through his head since he was off guard. They take him back immediately. Well, on the bright side, he should get a nice boost in power from this. So will hitting his head activate some cool psychic powers like Bardock? Nope. He's gonna become a goofball like Goku. They're able to get him medical attention, but by the time they arrive back at their base, it's already a little bit too late. The head trauma has taken some effect. They're unsure if there will be permanent damage or not. At first, he's in a coma for a bit, as expected with a severe blow to the head like that. But thankfully, it's not too much of a concern. He fully recovers. And as far as everyone can tell, there's not going to be any long-lasting damage, but the doctors do note something. While he was healing, they noticed that his brain showed some sort of signs of amnesia. They're not sure if it'll be permanent or not, and how much it affects him. Other than that, he seems perfectly fine. Vegeta steps out of the healing pod. Somewhat confused, Nappa and Raditz are there to greet him, and he doesn't actually recognize them. Well, Nappa's glad that he's talking and moving normally, so it just seems like he lost his memory. That's fine, they'll be sure to jog it again. But the two other Saiyans don't realize it's much more than that. The Saiyans aren't sent out on any missions because they need Vegeta to lead them, and Frieza thinks it's not a good idea to send Vegeta out. Until he gets all this sorted, he won't really be effective on missions, which could be a good thing because then Frieza won't have to worry about the Saiyans, they'll just be eliminated. But he also recognizes how valuable they are as soldiers, so he's not going to do that. He wants to get his full use out of them. Nappa and Raditz surprisingly learn that Vegeta's actually forgotten his name too, and other things like that. He doesn't know who he's working with, where he is, or what's going on. It seems it might be worse than they thought. It's exactly what happened with Goku when he hit his head. He forgot who he was and why he was sent to Earth, and Vegeta's forgetting pretty much all of his past too. They try and jog his memory as much as possible. He realizes that they're his allies, and learns that he's a Saiyan, working for an army called the Frieza Force. They even try to remind him of the history of the Saiyans, and how Vegeta's the prince. But nothing jogs his memory. Well, maybe they're going about it wrong. Why not try training with him? Actions might jog his memory better than words do. Surprisingly, when they're training, Vegeta still has a natural talent for fighting, and he's surprised. It seems so well ingrained in him that even after suffering this amnesia, he kinda remembers how to fight too. And he relearns to control his power. Alright, at least he has that, but Raditz and Nappa are getting increasingly concerned. The strongest person in the group forgets who he is. And beyond that, he doesn't seem like himself. He's not acting like himself. When he learns what they did, he actually seemed somewhat horrified about it. They were working under some emperor destroying planets for money? Vegeta didn't seem to like that, especially once he was told that he was the one leading everybody too. And another big shock was the fact that he was actually the prince of the Saiyans. At some point, Frieza decides Vegeta's fine to go fight. I mean, he's been watching Vegeta training too. He could still fight, and he has the other two for guidance. They could send Vegeta on some easier missions. He doesn't want Vegeta wasting any more time around here. A few months have already gone by, and he kinda needs Vegeta to actually do something. No more excuses for it. Vegeta can't avoid going on a mission anymore, and he's not looking forward to this, but he doesn't know what to do. It's not like he could just go against what Frieza says, because if he does, that's gonna be the death of him. Frieza or one of his soldiers will probably just be able to kill Vegeta. And he doesn't want to do the mission either because he's just going to be executing innocent people. It's not something he wants to do. Raditz and Nappa wonder if he'll ever regain a sense of himself. He's caught up to speed now, but he's not returning to his normal self. His demeanor's completely different. Vegeta doesn't want to be that same Brutus warrior that he was, but now he's being forced to go on this mission. And that Frieza guy's terrible. He doesn't want to work under him either. Well, at least that's something Raditz and Nappa agree with. But it's not like anybody has a choice. When they're sent out on the mission, they land on the planet that they're supposed to clear out. The inhabitants aren't very strong. It's a pretty easy mission for Vegeta. Raditz and Nappa get ready to fight, but as soon as they do, Vegeta then goes back in his space pod and deserts them. He leaves his scouter behind too, not wanting to be tracked. And he's already figured out too, he's disabled any sort of tracking on his spaceship as well. He doesn't want anyone to find him, at least not Frieza. Raditz and Nappa are just dumbfounded, and they don't know what to do. They gotta chase Vegeta down. If they let him leave now, they're not gonna be able to find him later. At least now they can still see his spaceship. They could chase it that way. But they can clearly see what he's trying to do. He's trying to go off the grid somehow. He wants to evade the Frieza Force. He wants to desert them. Raditz curses it. He then crushes his scout in his hands, going into his space pod and doing the same thing. Nappa asks him what the hell he's doing, and Raditz says he's gotta track down Vegeta somehow. If they don't leave now, they're gonna lose Vegeta for good and they'll have no chance at finding him. But Nappa can't believe it. Are they actually gonna desert the Frieza Force? They're gonna be tracked down by Frieza and killed. But he guesses they probably have no choice. If Frieza finds out that Vegeta was able to desert them, well, Nappa and Raditz will probably be the ones punished for it. Even if they don't go after Vegeta, Frieza will probably think that they're colluding with him. Damn it all. Alright, Nappa does the same thing. They desert as well. They're more loyal to Vegeta and the Saiyans rather than Frieza himself, so they'd rather do whatever he's doing. Maybe he's got a plan in mind, but why is he acting like this? He's acting so rash. They know he's been weird ever since he hit his head, but still, to do this? They manually fly their space pods chasing Vegeta down. And they fly for a while, eventually landing on some planet that's actually out of Frieza's reach. Vegeta waits for them to land, and he says he's glad that they followed him. He actually located this planet a while ago. That's why he was stalling for so long, trying not to go on a mission. He wanted to find a new place to go. He was planning on deserting the Frieza Force. This planet is habitable, and it's one that Frieza wasn't even aware of, and even if he was, it's not something worthwhile. It seems pretty barren, but Vegeta says they'll at least be able to find food here, and it's a place where they could breathe. That's really all they could ask for. Nappa and Raditz see, he's planned this. He's still very strategic, just like he was before. It's so strange though because his personality is completely different, and Vegeta talks with them. He has no clue what happened with him, why he lost his memories. He knows what happened, but he doesn't know why it happened like that. He's been in the heat of battle before, at least according to Raditz and Nappa, and he can tell he's strong. He has a gift, as some sort of elite class warrior. At least that's what Nappa says. But he doesn't want that gift going to waste. He doesn't want to be a slave to Frieza. Besides him not wanting to do that dirty work, it's more than just him wanting to be good now. Raditz and Nappa don't get why suddenly he just doesn't want to do this job anymore. They don't realize why he suddenly views this as wrong. But another part of what Vegeta's saying resonates with them. The fact that he doesn't want to be a slave to Frieza. That's something they can at least agree with. Vegeta wants to rebel against Frieza. Right now they're not nearly strong enough, but from what he knows about himself, and from what he's learned from Raditz and Nappa, he thinks that maybe, as Saiyans, they could overpower him someday. Do the universe a favor, and then maybe he can live some sort of normal life. Raditz and Nappa still have evil intentions. They're the same Saiyans they've always been, but they're still loyal to Vegeta. They're not going to go against him, and Vegeta recognizes this too. They're not necessarily great people either, but he'd rather team up with the devil that he knows than the devil he doesn't. They are the lesser of two evils, the enemy of my enemy, whatever sort of saying you want to use for them. Point being, he knows he can trust them. He can't trust Frieza. And even if they want to part ways eventually, he tells them that's fine. They don't need to follow him forever. He just wants to defeat Frieza. He doesn't expect them to turn good either, but he does tell them one thing. If they stand against him, he'll be sure to defeat them. He wants to live his own life now. He doesn't want to go around doing this anymore. As for Raditz and Nappa, they honestly don't really know what to say. As Saiyan warriors, it's in their blood. And Vegeta says he hasn't lost his love for fighting. He just doesn't desire to fight people that are innocent, random civilians that the Saiyans are executing. Raditz and Nappa say they might not understand what Vegeta's going through now, but at least for the Frieza part, the fact that he wants to rebel against him, they respect that. And they say they'll work with Vegeta now. It's not like they have a choice. They already deserted the Frieza Force anyways. And once they actually defeat Frieza, they'll see where they go from there. Vegeta has no clue of what he wants to do after, but he'll find that along the way. Although, what are they actually supposed to do here? They have to work things out. As for Frieza, he eventually finds out that the Saiyans somehow disappeared. When scouts are sent to that planet, they see a couple craters where their spaceships once were, with the remains of their scouters and some pieces of armor. When Nappa and Raditz left, they try to make it look like the Saiyans died somehow. But it's kind of tough to do that because there's no traces of the spaceship left. It was at least worth a try though. And Frieza's suspicious. At first, the scouts buy the idea that the Saiyans actually died here. They find the remains and assume they were just wiped away with their spaceship somehow. But Frieza says that seems a little bit too convenient. Who's to say they haven't deserted him? I mean, Vegeta's been acting weird all of a sudden, but that doesn't explain why Raditz and Nappa would have done so, unless they were colluding with Vegeta. Not to mention, this shouldn't have been a tough mission. There's no way the Saiyans could have been eliminated. His scouts end up finishing the job anyways, and that just shows them this. Nobody's too sure what happened with them, and there's no way to track the Saiyans either. Sure, maybe they did actually die, but Frieza doesn't fully buy that. He still thinks they're out there somewhere, trying to plan against him. But even if that is the case, he's not too worried. Angered? Yeah. But worried? Not at all. If they try and rise up against him, what are they gonna do? I mean, he's Frieza. He'll defeat them easily. Besides, this is the perfect excuse for him to get rid of them. He already wanted to in the first place and didn't really need an excuse, but now? Why keep them around after they betray him? Frieza's not gonna let his guard down yet. He doesn't fully believe they're dead, and he'll make sure to be on the lookout for them. He'll find the Saiyans again. Back on this other planet, the Saiyans are trying to figure out what to do now. Raditz and Nappa are still unsure about Vegeta's judgment, but clearly, he still seems to be the same strategic person that he was before. They saw him training, he's a great warrior still. He has all that, it's almost like it's inherent to him. It's just his personality, his demeanor, all of that's different. And of course the fact that he lost his memories still. It doesn't seem like he's going to be back to his normal self anytime soon. But even if he did go back to his normal self, this is probably something he would do anyways, rebelling against Frieza. But they recognize they need to get stronger, a lot stronger. And not just that, but maybe they could try and find some more allies. But Vegeta's confused. What other allies? Well, Nappa says he's not too sure if anyone in the Frieza Force will join, but there are other Saiyans out there. Vegeta can't believe that. Wait, there are? Why wasn't he told about this? Well, Raditz and Nappa kind of glossed over this, they just forgot to include it. When they were telling Vegeta about his past again, they said all the Saiyans died, but apparently there's at least 2 others out there. One of them actually being Vegeta's brother. Nappa says the issue is with that, they don't know where Vegeta's brother is. Or how strong he is for that matter. And not just that, but he's also pretty young. He was sent out specifically because he was weak, so even if they do find him, which is a big if, they don't know if he'll be strong enough to help. Vegeta does want to find him, it's his brother after all. And once again, this is pretty off-putting for the 2 other Saiyans, seeing Vegeta actually care about others. At least in this way, it's not in the Saiyan's nature to actually care about people like this. Something really has changed with him. Okay, well, he asked who the other Saiyan is, they said at least 2 are out there. Well, there's still the same kind of issue. It's another weak Saiyan, as far as they know at least. But they actually do know where this Saiyan is. It's Raditz's younger brother. He's only a few years younger, so he should be fighting by now. And the planet he was sent to was pretty weak. Raditz did want to seek out Kakarot eventually, but why not do that now then? Vegeta still does want to find his brother Tarble. But in the meantime, yeah, they'll at least seek out Kakarot. They know where he is, so it's worth a shot. But he wonders too. It'll be weird meeting another Saiyan, especially once he's seen how these 2 have acted. He's gonna be another evil Saiyan, isn't he? There's gonna be 3 versus 1. Who knows if they'll rebel against Vegeta? As far as Vegeta could tell, these 2 trust him right now. He's not sure if this Kakarot person will, especially if he's still a normal Saiyan, but it's at least worth a shot. Seek him out, find an ally to fight against Frieza. They stay here on this planet for a bit, planning. There's a brief passage of time. Right now, the year is age 752. What's happened on Earth? Well, nothing really. The story went exactly the same, there's no reason for that to change here. Goku's doing his training for the 22nd World Tournament. This is about a year before that. He's still off on his own. Unbeknownst to him, he's about to have some visitors. Goku sees 3 figures flying above him. They look like meteors almost. He has no clue what that is, and by now he still can't even sense anything. Are those spaceships maybe? No, they can't be. But he's curious. He goes to check it out. The 3 space pods land. With the time that has passed by now, Vegeta and Raditz probably would have gone through their growth spurts already. And as the 3 Saiyans step off, they realize they don't have their scouters. They abandoned them just to make sure that Frieza couldn't track them, and as a way to try to fake their death. There might be some other scouters left on the ships that they have, extras in case they break mid-battle, but the Saiyans don't really want to activate them. They want to make sure Frieza really can't track them, but this poses an issue. How are they supposed to find Kakarot if they can't sense ki? And if they don't have scouters, what are they supposed to do to locate him? But they see a yellow cloud up ahead, flying towards them, and Raditz can kind of see there's someone sitting on top of it, looking like he's riding that cloud. Nappa laughs. They're probably not going to have to search far. A kid lands in front of them, and Raditz can immediately tell that hairstyle. This definitely is Kakarot. He even has the tail. They can't believe they found him that easily, and they're kind of surprised. They knew Kakarot was apparently younger than Raditz, but he still hasn't even gone through his growth spurt yet. They can't tell if he's strong either because they don't have any scouters, and Raditz is the first to talk to him. Goku doesn't really know how to react either. Something feels off about this, and Raditz greets him as Kakarot. But Goku has no idea who that is. He says they must be mistaking him for someone else. But Goku sees they all have tails like him too. He asks them what's going on here. He pulls out his power pole, thinking that these might be threats. They seem very imposing, and they don't look like normal humans. I mean, they just came here on space pods too. But at the same time, they look like him if anything. He's confused and a little bit concerned. But Raditz is just as confused. Doesn't he recognize Raditz? Well, Raditz is grown now. Kakarot probably remembers how he looked as a kid at least. He should have at least seen Raditz while he was in the incubation chamber, right? Or at least heard of his name. But Goku says he has no idea of who he is, or who this Kakarot is. How could he forget his own brother? He says his name is Goku, and as far as he knows, he doesn't have a brother. He was raised by Grandpa Gohan, here on Earth, and he asked the 3 of them why they have tails just like him. Wait a second, there's no way. The 3 Saiyans are all thinking the same thing. There's no way this could have possibly happened here too, right? Well, Vegeta's the one to step up and finally ask the question. And as Goku looks up at Vegeta, for some reason he feels like this guy's not as intimidating as the other 2. Besides his smaller stature, he just seems more friendly than them. He asks Goku, by chance, does he remember anything from when he was a kid? Goku doesn't remember anything. Did he hit his head or something? Goku's not actually sure. He says maybe his master Roshi would know. But the only other person who would know that is Gohan, who's dead by now. It can't actually be the case. Did Kakarot hit his head too, just like Vegeta? But Vegeta assumes this is still the case, and he tells Goku he doesn't need to worry. They're not here as threats. He needs to take a different approach to this. He knows Raditz and Nappa are probably going to act rash here, but Vegeta could see this kid's exactly like him. He's not some brutish Saiyan like he was imagining. He seems kind and gentle. He tells the other two he'll handle this, and he asks Goku if he can speak to him alone. Vegeta says the two of them are probably similar, and he tries to explain briefly what happened. They're both Saiyans. Kakarot, or Goku, he was sent here a long time ago, and he might have lost his memory, just like Vegeta had. And Vegeta says they're here for a good purpose. They were specifically seeking out Goku, but before they do anything else, he does want to test one thing. He wants to see how strong Goku is. And Goku still isn't sure if these guys are threats or not, but it's not like that matters. Either way, they're gonna need to fight. And this Vegeta guy seems friendlier, so he doesn't mind fighting him. Actually, it's been a while since he's fought against someone, so this could be fun. And Goku reiterates, he still can't tell if these guys are bad or not. But either way, he's looking forward to the fight. And then he wants to know why they're truly here. Goku assumes a battle stance, and Vegeta smiles, doing the same. He wonders if this Kakarot, or this Goku guy, if he's any different from the other Saiyans. Looks like he's about to find out. And this is where we'll leave off for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's gonna happen next time if this story continues? Let me know your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you want to support the channel if you haven't already. It shows me you guys.
One more, because I gotta go get something to eat in this piece today.
Last time, we concluded the Future Saga, with the group being victorious against Zamasu and Hit Black, thanks to some help from Hit and Goku. As we head towards the Tournament of Power, what's going to happen from here on out? We'll be seeing all that and more in Part 5 of What If Vegeta Trained Gohan. Considering he's still training a lot, Vegeta eventually does unlock a new level of himself, earlier than he normally would. Mainly thanks to all the changes to him here. It gives him a really big head start and allows him to unlock Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, not requiring the tournament to do so. Naturally, when he does this, he wants to test out his power further, so first he fights Goku. And with Goku utilizing Blue Kaioken, the two have a pretty good match, but it seems like Vegeta might be ahead, especially because now, Goku has to get used to being alive again, and how that affects his power. But Vegeta also wants to fight against Gohan and test his current strength, so briefly he does come to Beerus' planet to try this. Vegeta wins pretty easily, but Gohan tells Vegeta they can't stop, they need to keep fighting. He feels like he's falling behind. Even though he's been training this whole time, he still feels like he's not accomplishing what he needs to. Whatever he's trying to access beyond his current power, he still isn't there yet. He still doesn't even know what it is, and it's been years. He needs Vegeta and Goku to help, especially if it's not something related to Super Saiyan. They're not too sure about it, but Vegeta does know one way of how to do this. Like he did against Cell, Gohan's gonna have to force his power out of necessity. If Gohan really wants the power that badly, this is really the only thing they could try at this point. And Gohan really has no clue of how else to draw it out. He knows rage is a trigger for his power, but he hasn't really felt that in a while either. And as much as Vegeta tries to help, this is really just a beatdown. It can't really accomplish too much for them. This isn't some sort of high-stakes opponent that he's facing. This is a friend of his teacher. And especially against Goku, this won't work either. Goku couldn't even get Gohan to unlock Super Saiyan 2 when they were in the time chamber together. They did get close, but he needed Cell to push that out. And as for Vegeta, he didn't even get to see a glimpse of Gohan's true strength. But Gohan does remember, when they were in Trunks' timeline and Trunks just healed him, he felt a weird surge of power within him. But then nothing after that. There has to be some sort of way to harness it. And Beerus finds this all pretty interesting too. He's going to keep an eye on Gohan, even though he's not really the main focus right now for Beerus. Actually, he's never really been a focus for Beerus, but now, he's seeing something different. Zeno eventually does get bored, and thanks to seeing the Universe 6 tournament, this leads to the Tournament of Power happening. If anything, it might actually happen a little bit sooner, just because without another Zeno to help him, he's probably going to get bored really quickly. We have pretty much the exact same lineup for the team. As for the 10th member, Gohan actually even considers recruiting Videl, or even maybe Goten or Trunks, since they don't have many other options. But then he has the perfect idea. He's about to suggest recruiting Yamcha, but then Goku has an even better idea. If they need someone really strong, why not bring Frieza back for a day? Wait, what? Pretty much exactly like normal, Goku suggests recruiting Frieza, which leads to it being the exact same team, because Frieza's revived for a day. And since the team is pretty much the exact same, with the only slight differences being in people's strength, a lot of the tournament goes pretty normally for the most part, besides Universe 6 maybe having trouble to use Super Saiyan on their own. But considering how easily they unlocked it regardless, I could at least see Kale probably getting it still, so Universe 6 is slightly weaker, Universe 7 slightly stronger. And I guess that's really it. Vegeta's a little bit stronger from the get-go thanks to already having Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. For Goku, everything kind of balances out and puts him around the same level of power. And as for Gohan, since he's been training so much, even without having his potential awakened, he's notably stronger, but not by an absurd amount that's going to let him one-shot everyone here. He still is only using Super Saiyan 2 and 3 after all. So with all that and the teams being the exact same, for the most part, the tournament goes pretty much the same. With the only exception being that there's no exhibition match because Zeno doesn't need that. Including Goku having a catalyst for his own new form too, Ultra Instinct. Surprising everyone there with his strength because they haven't really gotten to see Goku fight this well, especially Beerus. To see him use Ultra Instinct, it's amazing. He's glad that he brought Goku to his planet. But there is one pretty big change, mainly between Frieza and Gohan during the tournament. There is a point where they actually do have to fight together, but Frieza has a newfound hatred for him. Of course, he hates all Saiyans, especially Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan, but after facing Gohan during Resurrection F, he's got a newfound hatred for Gohan. He could probably have fun with this Saiyan. More importantly, he can get his revenge on this Saiyan. Surprisingly enough, even seeing that those other two Saiyans are gods now, somehow Gohan is keeping up with them, without godly ki or anything. Not that Frieza knows anything about that really, but still, he had to face Gohan one-on-one before. And even as they are now, Gohan still might match his golden form. And with Frieza coming back to life fully after the tournament, this leads to the Broly stuff happening just like normal, at least the recruitment of Broly. But once Broly gets to Earth, there is already a pretty big change. Goku and Vegeta of course arrive as the welcoming party for him. But right as Vegeta starts fighting Broly, Gohan then rockets over to help, sensing that there's some threat here and he didn't even realize. He could sense Broly's power from so far away, as well as Vegeta's too. He gets there right as Vegeta's fight with Broly finishes, right before Goku's about to swap in. And Goku still has jump in because he's been waiting his turn. But Gohan does warn them, if things get really bad, he's gonna jump in. He knows that Goku wants to have a one-on-one. But they do have to be careful here. And Goku tells him not to worry, it's gonna be fine. He's got this under control. Pretty quickly, they see Goku doesn't have this under control. Well, at first he kinda does, especially after he goes Super Saiyan Blue. It seems like he's actually handling Broly pretty well. But then Frieza kills Paragus, causing Broly to transform into his Super Saiyan, and they can feel his immense power. Like, yeah, Super Saiyans are strong, but not like this. This is unlike anything they've ever seen. Especially with how he was fighting before this entire time, it's pretty clear to them that this guy's no normal Saiyan. And Gohan wonders if it's something like him. Could he be like a hybrid or something? And Vegeta says it's not likely. Apparently Broly's about the same age as them, judging by what Paragus said, which means that he's probably a pure Saiyan, and maybe some sort of mutant. Especially if his father did something to wrong them, that means they were on planet Vegeta at the time. Which makes this even stranger. A pure Saiyan being this strong? How is that even possible? How did he mutate that much? Vegeta then powers up into Blue Evolution, and Gohan powers up into Super Saiyan 2. Now, this entire time Gohan has been using the Super Saiyan 2 to 3 switch. He's been utilizing it a lot, so much in fact that it's pretty much instant when he switches to 3. He never really uses 3 on its own. It's so well optimized that it seems like he's using Super Saiyan 2 the entire time, and then somehow powering himself up right at the last second. But ever since fighting Zamasu, Vegeta has noticed something strange with Gohan. Maybe it's that same power that Gohan felt before, but it seems like whenever he powers up into Super Saiyan 2, briefly there's a weird change in his aura that's not like Super Saiyan 2. Vegeta, of course, knows that it usually has sparks of electricity around it, but for some reason, right when Gohan powers up, those sparks of electricity look a little bit different than normal, looking red instead of a bluish-green color. But it's only for a brief moment, and after he powers up completely, it's gone. It probably doesn't mean anything, though. It might just be a weird quirk that he has. And he sees it again here, too. Maybe it's due to him optimizing Super Saiyan 3 and evolving it somehow. And this is some new inherent trait he has. But little did they know, that's not even close to the explanation. They go in to help Goku fight Broly. And Gohan yells at Goku to not hold anything back. Even though Kaioken's not too efficient here, he's gotta use it. So together, Blue Evolution Vegeta, Blue Kaioken Goku, and Super Saiyan 2 Gohan fight Broly. And Goku tells the two of them to grab on. He'll teleport away. He's actually got a good plan here. Something that they haven't used before, but it should work pretty well. He's gonna teleport them to Piccolo. And mostly he needs Vegeta's help here. So Gohan says he'll stay back, just to make sure Broly doesn't move out of here. He says he'll be fine. He's going to be fighting defensively, and he's not going to be attacking Broly at all. He'll basically work as bait. Goku and Vegeta fly away. Flying towards Frieza, Gohan then careens into another direction, quickly going Super Saiyan 3 so he can use his maximum speed. And at the same time Goku and Vegeta teleport, Gohan then lowers his power dramatically, trying to remain hidden and make it look like he teleported away. Gohan completely forgot that Frieza was there the entire time. Maybe he could be a better bait for the time being. And the plan works. Goku and Vegeta get away, with Gohan staying behind. And Frieza not realizing that Gohan's even there, because he was too focused on the giant hulking monster behind him, instead of realizing that Gohan's pretty much right next to him. Frieza goes golden and starts fighting Broly, with Gohan watching on the sidelines, and it's taken kind of a long time for Goku and Vegeta to get back. Of course, the whole fusion thing's going on. Now, it's a little bit easier to convince Vegeta because the experience with Vegeta was better beforehand. But convincing is half the battle because now they need to get the fusion dance right. And Gohan's surprised that Frieza's surviving all this too. Broly's so much of a good distraction for Frieza that he doesn't realize that Gohan's there the entire time. But at one point a stray ki blast does come his way. And it's an actual stray ki blast, not like what killed Paragus. So briefly Gohan does have to use his power to block it, with Frieza catching sight of him too. But thankfully the timing's not too bad because the second this happens, Gogeta then teleports in, leaving Frieza confused and Gohan a little bit confused, but then he realized that it's some sort of fusion thing. Goku actually did mention this to him before. After fusing into Vegito, Goku recounted learning fusion in another world. A different kind though, so Gohan eventually gets what it is. As Gogeta starts to fight Broly, that leaves Frieza to his own devices, and with Gohan there, he's got a score to settle. Frieza then launches right towards Gohan. Now, he is a little bit beat up, but given his durability and all, this is like nothing to him. And Gohan can tell that Frieza's grown during the tournament, and Frieza can note the same of Gohan as well. He's a lot stronger than their last encounter. Of course, he felt it during the tournament, but he wasn't on the receiving end of Gohan's power. And now actually fighting here, Frieza realizes that he's actually above Gohan now, and he can finally get his revenge. Well, if Broly doesn't succeed in killing the other Saiyans, whatever. He'll at least get to kill one of them here. Not just that, but he can destroy this entire planet. That's an easy way to kill them all too, although he doesn't really like the idea of doing that. He wanted to savor the moment after all, but at least that way, it prevents them from ever coming back, especially because the Dragon Balls will be destroyed alongside it. And Gohan can tell Frieza's dead serious. Obviously he is. The last time they faced each other, he saw the same exact evil within him. I mean, it's Frieza after all. But there he had the advantage. Here he doesn't. And Frieza takes joy in this, and he taunts Gohan, asking him what's wrong. What, not enough power to defend Earth and his family now? And that strikes a nerve with Gohan. How does Frieza realize he has a family? Well, Frieza's not stupid. He has info on all of them here. He doesn't know exact specifics, but he heard it mentioned in brief passing before the tournament began, even though he didn't get to see them. He thought maybe he was just referring to Goku's family, but then it hits Frieza. He realizes that Gohan has a family of his own too, which makes this even more fun, as he taunts Gohan more and more. Gogeta's fight with Broly reaches its conclusion, but just as Gogeta's about to finish it with a Kamehameha, he feels a huge surge of power that distracts him. When he looks back at Broly, he sees that he teleported away. Gogeta doesn't know how or why, but Broly escaped. But what is that power that he sensed? In the distance, there's a pillar of blue ki, with sparks of red electricity around it. Goku, of course, has noticed the same thing that Vegeta had before. And Gogeta's first thought is that Gohan's finally done it, unlocking whatever power that he was supposed to get before. Gogeta teleports over to the area and sees Gohan absolutely demolishing Frieza. But Gogeta teleporting in is the briefest distraction for Gohan, allowing Frieza to launch a blast at the surface of the planet, forcing them to jump in and stop it. Frieza then quickly launches up into space, using this as an opportunity to escape Earth. And then Gogeta gets to see Gohan clearly. His hair's grown longer and it's a silverish color. His aura, of course, has completely changed, and his eyes have turned red too, with some other slight changes to him. Gohan finally got the catalyst that he needed, and it was Frieza. And obviously with Gogeta being both Goku and Vegeta, Gogeta is really proud here. In the heat of the moment, Gohan didn't even realize he transformed. At least not until he started beating Frieza up. And he still is pretty mad, especially because Frieza got away. Gogeta apologizes, but Gohan says it's not his fault. As amazing as this new power is, he fell back into his old ways. He let his anger blind him briefly. Maybe it's because he hasn't faced an opponent that made him that angry in a while. It's something he should have known because Vegeta and him worked to solve this exact problem before. Maybe he actually did need that. Not just because it helped him unlock a new power, but helped him realize that he still has flaws he needs to work on. At least rework on, because maybe he got too comfortable. But more importantly, what is that power that he has? Well, Gogeta says he has a few more minutes before this fusion runs out. He's controlling the power pretty well, so maybe they could at least fight for a bit? You know, just to see what that power is that they're dealing with. Gohan's a bit beat up from fighting Frieza before, and a bit worn out due to that. But sure, they could fight for a bit. Especially because Gohan needs something to take his anger out on. Gogeta chuckles. He's not in a good mood, huh? That'll be even better. The fight will be more fun that way. A very short battle ensues. Gogeta powers up to his fullest, going into Blue Evolution, even trying to use Kaioken on top of it. This will use a ton of power, but still, it's worth it. The two exchange some blows, and as they're about to end this with a final clash, right before they connect with each other, Gohan drops back into base, and Gogeta defuses, with all of them laughing. Well, they could at least try that again later. Whis and Bulma watch on from nearby, with Bulma a bit terrified, and Whis happy too. Beerus is probably going to like to hear this. And with that, we leave off here from now. What'd you guys think about this part, and what's going to happen next time? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.